And welcome to the Barggianos podcast. My name is Chuck. I'm your hostess with the leastest, and with me, as always,
Matt.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, loving being down here. Have a few drinks.
You having a rough day there? I see you got you a shot poured already.
Yeah, a little shot. Looks like piss water, but it's that fancy tequila.
Oh, that's the, I was about to say Carvesier. Is it Carmesi?
Carmesi.
What's the other one? Carvesier. I don't know. There's another one, but okay, well, good.
Yeah.
I'm good on shots tonight. I'm going to just do beers, but...
Yeah, I know Cinco de Mayo a couple weeks back, I didn't really get to celebrate, so why not celebrate?
All right, well, you know what time it is.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, hold on. For everybody that knows that's been following us for the last 20 episodes, I usually open Chuck's beer, but tonight he got a little excited. So... I will not be opening his beer.
I feel awful. Maybe I'll have 2 beers this episode. You can open that? I feel bad, audience.
Oh, cheers with beer.
Give me a cheers. Cheers, buddy. Ooh. That's tasty. That is very tasty.
Got a little salt over here.
Oh, yeah.
Barggianos
has got it all, buddy. We take care of you.
Except the popcorn.
Popcorn. Hey, well, it is getting close to the weekend here, and I promised that there would be popcorn, but not on recording night. We can't chew and talk at the same time, man. That wouldn't be appropriate. How is that? Pretty good?
Makes my day.
That shot looks pretty good. So how was your day, man? Anything good? Anything new? Anything exciting?
No. Just, long last few days.
Yeah. Any in particular reason?
No.
Nothing at all.
Same reason last episode. Just exhausted.
We're just old.
I think that's what it is.
We have old-itis.
But this is my decompression.
Yeah, I could say that. I can agree with that.
I mean, I think about nothing. Chuck's like, what do we want to talk about? He's loving the behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe one day while we're setting up and stuff, we just set up a phone camera while we're setting up and do some shorts so people can see a little bit behind the scenes and they can really see that we don't plan for anything.
All that preparation that goes into the podcast there.
Yeah.
We pick a few subjects. That's what we usually do. We see like a good joke or a good feed. I like that. But speaking of random things that I seen today, I was talking to a coworker and came up with an interesting little conversation, let's say. We were talking about when you were younger, there'd be certain things that you would do or your parents would experience or, would the way they raised you, let's say. And then how those little things stick with you as an adult. And even though your lifestyle could be completely different than what your parents' situation was, those little bitty things are ingrained in your soul and you still do that. For example, we were talking, I said, when I was younger, my parents, if we went to like a baseball game, a movie theater, anything like that, we weren't poor, but we weren't the most well off when we were younger. But I'd be like, hey, can we get some popcorn? Speaking of popcorn, can we get some popcorn at the movies? Can we get a soda? And they're like, no, we don't need that. Or they would say, sneak your snacks in. And not just the movie theater, it'd be anything.
Yeah.
Like you got free tickets to a circus. And remember the Shriner Circus?
Yeah, you can pick up the tickets at a gas station or something.
Yeah, exactly. So we'd go there and like, can we pick up some souvenirs? And like, no, we don't need that. Or we got food at home and all these things. So I was saying, I'm like that with my kids a lot of times, or I'll usually catch myself. Well, I'll just use a movie theater as an example. We'll walk in and be like, oh man, can we get the popcorn and the soda and the hot dog? I'm like, no, we don't need it. Or bring some popcorn from home. And my brain goes, why are you being cheap? Or why are you getting so aggravated? Because not aggravated, but it hits me. I'm like, it's ingrained in me. This is what, it's like a dog. Roll that newspaper up and no, you don't need that. And I don't know. Do you have any examples like that you can think of?
No, the only thing I can think of is like, when I was growing up, I mean, my parents love each other. They're still together. They've been together, what it'll be, 46 years.
Oh, wow.
This year. Yeah. So a little fun fact, I was born on their 1-year anniversary. So
congratulations, Matt's dad.
Yeah. So, but my parents weren't like affectionate at home or in public. They weren't the hold the hand type. They didn't hug. They didn't kiss in front of us ever. And so that's kind of how my wife and I are. And I don't know if it's just because that's how I grew up and she kind of grew up like that too. But when it comes to like things that cost monetary value, like I'm like you, we didn't grow up, with a lot of money. We did fine. We got 3 meals a day. We had clothes, but my parents were starting out a business. So money was tight. So now, like when I go to events or, the kids want something, I spoil them. And I don't know if that's because I got girls too.
True.
If that makes
but see,
a
now
difference.
that's interesting because that's the opposite effect to me. And you could call me frugal, let's say, but I'm not cheap like at all. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's just not like that. But it's weird. I think it's just I'm so used to like, nope, we don't need that. Or you don't need a soda. You can get that at home. I remember going to like White Castles and we would pick up French fries and my mom and dad would say, if you want cheese fries, we have cheese at home, and we would take them home, put the slab of cheese on there and microwave those sons of bitches.
See, and I don't know. I am the opposite. And, again, I didn't get a lot of stuff when I was a kid. Like, I want to say I didn't get a lot of extra stuff when I was a kid. My kids get a lot of extra stuff.
How many siblings do you have?
I'm one of 5.
Okay. And I don't need all the details, but basically you had a larger pool of trying to get things.
But, like I remember our budget for shoes, we got 1 pair of shoes a year and it was $30. Like if it was $30.99, out of the question. Like $30.
I do remember that. Do you remember we went to a private school, and I remember I had the same pair, like style of shoes from like kindergarten to 8th grade, and they were black Adidas Sambas. Do you remember these?
I do, because I know a guy who still wears them. That's the only shoe he wears still to this day.
I have a pair. I don't think you've ever seen me in them, but that every kid in the school would wear Adidas black Sambas, and if you got some other color, you're like, what, did they invent a new color? Like it wasn't like today where there's 10,000 types of shoes. I think maybe in 8th grade I got like a different, like whole different style of Adidas, and I thought I was like the cat's meow. So
I even tried to, like, being the money guy that I am today, I think I remember trying to talk my parents into like, hey, if I only spend $25 this year, can I get $35 next year? And that didn't work. So, but yeah, the Adidas Sambas were popular. I was always the guy that was a year behind in style in grade school, because those were the shoes that were on clearance or still there. And then, as I got older in high school, I started working so I could buy my own stuff. But then the problem is like shoes in particular, back then they didn't I wear a size 13. They didn't carry a lot in the store. So it was still tough to buy stuff.
Your freakishly large feet.
Yeah.
See, I'm 10 and a half, so it's pretty common, which is good and bad because they're always sold out, but they're everywhere.
Right.
It just depends on Do you remember Foot Locker Outlet by chance?
Yeah, I remember where one was. Yes.
I just, the thing we're talking about, the shoes being expensive, it was one of the first times in my life I just would hit that place up like, oh man, you can get a pair of shoes for like $30-$40. And I can remember going, a couple of memories where I'd go to like that store and I remember seeing that pair of shoes, like buying it, and then going to the mall and they were still like full price at like $120. And I was like, oh man, can I take these back? I didn't do it, but I was like, as a kid, I'm like, that's amazing. And that really opened the doors. But today, kind of back to what you're saying about buying things for, if you had 5 siblings, a lot of things are expensive as hell today.
Oh God.
It is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Everything's expensive. I'll get back to that in a second. But also, things are more attainable in a sense of there's so much surplus of things out there now. When we were younger, if you wanted a bike, you had to go to a store and get a bike. Now you can go on Facebook Market. People, if you did Craigslist, whatever, next door apps, you can. There's so many things. Just using one example of a bike, but anything. If you tell me something right now, I could have it for you in 10 minutes. I'm the Facebook Market king, and this. Everything I have down here is from Facebook Market. But It's literally anything. And it's like, oh man, you need this in the old days, a baby crib, whatever it is. You're like, oh, that's
Right.
$100, $200. Give me 10 minutes, I'll get you that for a nickel. I mean,
Right.
it's kind of insane in that sense. But also on the flip side of that, everything's so expensive. And we were having a conversation about how, you always not argue, but have a conversation like with your parents. Was like, well, you were lucky when you were younger, things weren't as expensive. And they're like, no, it was. Our house, all these things.
Yeah.
Minimum wage wasn't as high. But they were saying with the, lost my train of thought. I know, was basically how there's things today that our parents didn't need. Internet.
Yeah.
And
Cell
phones, streaming service, whatever the thing
Right.
is, there's these newer things and these different expenses that wasn't necessary. Every kid has a cell phone and an iPad. Okay, well, how much does that cost in each kid?
Right.
And going on and on. So it's very interesting of back and forth. Their house might have cost $20,000 for the first house they ever bought, but my dad said he made with the college degree was probably making 18 grand a year, 15 grand a year, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it goes back and forth, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, my first house cost me $93,000.
Like you in 93.
93, I remember. And we can go into a funny story. I know we got some other stuff to get into, but when I bought this house, I bought it with Dave. Our first house, my first house. He lived in apartments before then, but I moved straight from my parents to this
That was
house.
your first husband, Dave?
My first husband,
Yeah.
And when we bought the house, moved in, didn't really know a lot of, let's call it cannabis, and cannabis was illegal back then. And I don't know, we're there like a day or two, just had moved in, and someone's knocking on the door. Well, it ended up being a weed dealer's house.
Oh, the previous owner?
Yeah, the previous owner. So
my gosh.
people were coming to buy weed, and we
That's great.
we threw a party. I don't know, a week or two after we moved in, and I was putting our first liquor bottle up on the cabinet. That was always a thing in apartments, or at least where you take your liquor bottles and you just throw them up. And I go to put a liquor bottle up on the top of the cabinet, and I hear something jiggle. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I reach up there and I grab it, and it's a small bowl with a bag of weed in there. So the guy had forgot he put weed.
Oh, a little housewarming gift for you.
Yeah, and then it all made sense because downstairs, in a little ranch house, but downstairs in the laundry area, there were cedar cabinets, and there was fluorescent lights in the cedar cabinets, and the water pipes that ran through there, they had little sprinkler heads on them. Like when we looked at the house, I didn't think nothing of it. But
These guys are into safety.
Yeah, so it's like, oh wow, yeah. He was a drug dealer. So it was very interesting. On my first house, we bought it from a weed dealer.
Wow. Well, that's fun. I never knew that. That's a brand new Matt exclusive right here. Thanks for telling me this story.
Like an onion.
Yeah, this is back to the onion. Matt's got them all.
Yeah, so that was good times for our first house. I mean, the first party was absolutely crazy, but we'll wait for Dave to come on. We got to get that scheduled.
Maybe we can have a first house, first living by ourselves experience episode.
Yeah, well, he had lived in apartments before then, but it was my first time, out of my parents.
That's when Dave got out of prison?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bubba. I had to coddle him a little bit because he was having like separation anxiety from Bubba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was tough for him. Tough few years.
Sorry about that, Dave.
Yeah, but we can go into it now. We got a lot of stories to bring up there.
It's going to be a long episode, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, some will laugh thinking about, when they just got their first apartment or first house.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun stuff.
So what do you got on the table tonight? You said you had something.
I have fan mail.
Uh-oh.
Some more. I'm loving this, by the way. And just
I can't believe we're getting so many fan mails.
I know. I'm waiting. I'm looking up there. Last episode we had like, I don't know, what did I say, like 11.4 or something. I forget.
11.4.
The views.
For the ticker back here.
But yeah, I know it went up after the show was over. So I've been keeping my eye on it. But we got a bunch of stocks up there to wait for Barggianos YouTube to scroll by again, see how many views we got. But do have some more fan mail, and these fan mails are fun because I think they're asking us for advice. I haven't read this one over very well, but we're going to wing it and see what we see.
All right. I'm excited.
Well, it is advice because it leads into that. Hello, I'm desperate for advice. There we go. I work closely with a coworker, and she does not wear deodorant.
Oh.
Actually, I'm guessing that she does not wear deodorant because her body odor is awful. We do not have a very close work relationship, but I do know that she has the BRCA gene.
Is that BRCA?
I don't know what BRCA gene is.
I think I've heard of that BRCA.
That can cause breast cancer. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I should just continue to read. So she got an elective double mastectomy. I also know that most deodorants have chemicals that can cause breast cancer. So I'm assuming that maybe why she chooses not to wear deodorant. However, every day my stomach turns because of the way she smells. It's becoming a problem, and I'm not the only one in the office that's suffering. By midday, she removes her jacket and it gets worse. I'm starting to take breaks to go sit outside, but I'm falling behind on my work.
Ooh.
That's tough.
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
We're joking around, but that's just a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, you got
It's your work. You're stuck at work, and you got to put up with that. You know, all day. That's your life.
But then you have a lady who has the breast cancer gene, double mastectomy, maybe chooses not to wear deodorant because I'm not a doctor by any means, but even if you have your breast removed, does that mastectomy really prevent everything, or just I know there's duct cancer in the breast. I forget what it's called.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't even want to go down this.
So there's duct cancer where it starts in I don't know. I'm going to say these wrong. So if there's any doctors, nurses, or medical professionals, are probably, these guys are a bunch of idiots. But starts where the woman would, create milk. So there's duct
I'll let
cancer.
Matt just keep going with this. This is
And then it can spread out into the tissues. But if that happens and they have a mastectomy, can they still get... I'm sure they can still get breast cancer. Maybe. It's just less likely. I don't know.
I don't know at all. I'm not even going to speak on it.
Yeah.
I know there's a reason they're getting cut off to
Right.
hopefully prevent getting cancer. I'm going to leave it at that. But it is fun to hear you talk about it and try to...
Yeah.
Because your eyes are going back and forth trying to figure out...
I know.
If I was Dr. Phil...
No, I was just reading about it the other day.
Were you?
But, yeah, long story. But, yeah.
Gyno Illustrated?
Yeah. I was looking at becoming a doctor. No,
you're very avid. You really keep up on the medical fields and the innovations, don't you? You say no.
Oh. Just certain things intrigue me, and then you go down a rabbit hole. So, to that advice, I mean, this is a tough one because, is she doing it for her health, but at what cost for the other workers?
Let me go back a second. Let me make sure I got these facts right. So the woman who wrote this letter to us for the advice, she works with the other woman. She works with the other woman who doesn't wear deodorant because she's afraid of getting the chemicals from the deodorant.
Well, that's what this person's assuming.
Okay, so because of that, she's a very stinky situation, let's just say.
Yes.
And then the woman has to put up with it. And then what was her question? What would you do, or how can I?
She just said I need advice. There was really no question.
Let's just say I'm pretty sure I'm guessing she would probably like to know how to approach the woman or what she should do. So, what do you think? I'll let you go first.
Oh man, I don't know. Part of me right now wants to get on my phone and say, "Hey, is there chemical-free deodorant?" I think there's all natural deodorant out there.
But how do you go up to a woman and tell her that? So basically, you have to tell someone that they're stinky.
So,
or bring it up in some creative, clever way.
I will tell you, back in a job I held in 2000, I had a similar situation where an employee stunk. I mean, it was bad, similar to this. And we had complaints go to HR. And I was his direct supervisor. You want to talk about an uncomfortable conversation. And I'm a young guy back then. I'm 20 years old.
So you actually kind of lived through this.
I had to have the conversation with the employee.
But you were the supervisor. You weren't the coworker.
Correct.
You weren't the equal. So it's a little bit different, but still very uncomfortable.
So, but to that point, like, what would I do?
What did you do?
Well, let's talk about this one. Knowing what I lived through, I would go to your HR. I don't know if the company's big enough to have an HR or not. I mean, everybody has an HR, but big enough to actually address situations. So I would address it with HR if I was in a bigger company. If I was in a smaller company, I would address it with my direct manager, my direct leader, and see how they want to handle it. I don't think, since I'm not close enough to the coworker, if I was in that situation, I'm a pretty blunt guy, but I'd feel very uncomfortable in that situation.
Let me give you this scenario. Let's just, for shits and giggles, let's say that there is no HR, or they're in a position where there's like maybe the only coworkers, so they would know it was the person telling the person. So let's just say you had to approach this individual about her cleanliness. How would you do that?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't think there's any easy way to do it. But if I'm the only coworker, we're probably in a intimate setting like you and I are every night we do the podcast.
Do I stink?
But yeah, I would, tell her like, hey, I mean, I would have a second to think about it, but bring up something like, hey, your body odor is really starting to get to me. Is there medical issues behind it? What's going on? And it gets worse when you take off your jacket. I mean, it's not going to be a great conversation, but I don't think there's any way that I know of, because I'm not a creative guy like that can just put it down gently.
I feel like if I had enough time, I could come up with something creative to do it. Can I tell you a secret too?
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. I wrote this in.
Oh yeah. All right.
So Matt.
Yeah.
I know you chapped your boobies off and
yeah,
you're feeling bad, but we need to talk after the show.
Oh, I got man boobs. Don't you worry. You lied. I didn't have a mastectomy. I have man boobs.
Oh, this is awkward. Yeah. That was my creative way of telling you. But no. No, I think, let's just say, first off, I would go to my manager, HR, and explain it and try to be as kind as possible. But let's just, for this scenario, let's say that wasn't an option. I would probably just sit down and say, hey, or maybe take them outside away from other coworkers so you wouldn't embarrass them, and say, hey, I didn't want to bring this up, and I totally understand your situation. I know you might have this gene and this may not, whatever, but I wanted to do you a favor. I've noticed, or this would be better. You could say that I noticed someone saying that you stink, or someone was talking bad about you. And I didn't like that, because we're friends, and I wanted you to be aware of it. And I have noticed myself that I can smell you from time to time, but I figured it was because of what you're going through, and I respect that. But I think that or maybe that would give them the hint, saying, "Oh man, I stink." And then if they go, "Hey, do you think I stink?" I would be like, I'm not going to say stink, but I definitely can. I notice it every day.
Yeah.
And we're around a lot. And you could reinforce saying, hey, I'm your friend, and I would want someone to tell me if it was the same situation, and hopefully the woman would still be embarrassed, but that might be what she needs to be like, hey, I got to fix this. And two, she might be like, wow, thank you for being my friend or being responsible about it, and basically blame somebody else. So.
And maybe she doesn't know. Maybe that's normal to her. Like, you ever walk into someone's house?
Do you know?
And no. Okay. I think I'm fine. But have you ever walked into someone's house and it's like, ooh, man. And it's like, do they know it smells like this, or are they just used to it smelling like
oblivious? It's for me. It's usually I've been not. And this has been my whole life, but people sometimes with pets.
Yeah.
And it could be the complete opposite too. I've seen people with like 50 pets. I'm exaggerating, but like a bunch of dogs and cats.
Yeah.
House smells fantastic. But
we have a neighbor like that.
yeah,
House smells great.
yeah, never an issue.
Plenty of pets.
Yeah, and I mean dead serious too. And then on the flip side, I knew someone with like just a dog or a cat or whatever the animal was, and you walk in, you're like, man, every time I walk in, it's obvious, and people talk about it, like, wow, did you smell it or whatever it is, and so it just depends. It also depends on the animal and maybe what kind of fur they have and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that would be what I would do though. I would pretty much blame somebody else, so I wouldn't have to be the blunt of it. Well, you could kind of innocently do it. You wouldn't have to necessarily say it's Cindy over there, but say, hey, I've heard around the office. This came to my attention, and as a friend, I thought you'd want to know.
Or if it's a customer-facing office, like what if they have customers? Then you can blame it on multiple customers coming in to complain.
There you go.
I don't know the situation other than what's.
Yeah, Barggianos, we play the blame game coming at you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, white lie, right? But
no, that's a good, very perfect. It's a white lie. You're not hurting anybody's feelings. And for me, if it was me and if I was a stinky one, I would want someone to tell me, but I wouldn't want to be embarrassed. So if someone's telling you a white lie, just to make it where it's not embarrassing the person, and also it's not affecting the relationship you're having between the coworker. Because you might really like this coworker, but they may be really stinky.
Right.
And that would be awful. It'd be like someone if you had real bad breath, or it's a situation where you tell the person, let them know, maybe they can do something about it. So.
I know, like, me and the closest friends, Ryan, Joel, Dave, like, if one of us stink, I mean, we're letting them know.
You're calling them right then and there.
Like, dude, go do something about that. But, yeah. I wish this person who wrote us in that was anonymous all the luck with this situation. The person who allegedly has body odor, I wish you all the luck in your health endeavors if you're listening to our show.
Yeah, but that really stinks.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a tough go for everybody. But
that's hard.
I really appreciate the fan mail. I know Chucky appreciates the fan mail, so I'll be nice again to Chuck. Barggianos.com, right here. Everything you got.
I see
here.
it.
How about this? Like real big. Yeah.
That's hard, but what's easy is subscribing. Is following, getting those likes,
share,
not the singer share, but with an S, share.
Yeah, do everything. And Chuck and I are coming up with ideas. And when we reach certain milestones for likes and shares, a little swag, whether it's a keychain or if we can get customizable bells. Speaking of customizable bells, if anybody can find a bell like this that's orange at the top that we don't have to paint, I would appreciate it. I'd like an orange Barggianos bell.
Yeah, I've been going down we talk about merch and stuff. It's not necessarily about selling merch, about just kind of like promotions and stuff. And there's so many options. Like anything you can think of, you can put a logo on. It's absolutely insane.
I love it. It's
insane.
Yeah. So like, share, subscribe, all the socials. Continue to watch. We're thankful for you watching. Everybody out there, have a beer with us. Relax.
Yeah.
If you're feeling down, write to us and we'll tell you our recording schedule and you can call in live and we'll talk to you then.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we can do it all, Matt.
We can do it all.
There's nothing that Barggianos can't do.
I know. And speaking of we do it all, so my daughter, my youngest one, she's one of my biggest fans. She watches every episode without me. She'll go in her bed at night, or even while we're down here recording, she'll watch the last episode. But she was watching the bowling episode the other day. And, we got bowling shirts, and we'll let you, I think you saw the front of them, but our names are real big on the back, Muff Divers. And we get in the car today for dinner, and she says, Dad, I got a serious question for you. And I said, okay, what's that? She said, I was listening to your podcast about the bowling one. And Chuck was talking about his mom's funeral and how he got flowers, and it said the Divers. And then you chimed in and said it would have been inappropriate to put Muff on there. And I said, yeah. She goes, Dad, what's Muff stand for?
What does Muff stand for, Matt?
Oh, well, I told her I'm not going to tell her.
I've been on the bowling team for almost 5 years. I still don't know what Muff means.
I told her motherfucking or what did I tell her? I don't know, like motherfucking ugly fucking friends is what I told her. And she asked me, hey, can I look it up? And I'm thinking, man, what would Google tell me if I looked up Muff Diver? I had no clue. And I said, hold on, let me look it up first. And then I look it up, and on Urban Dictionary, it's pretty descriptive. And I said, absolutely not. So she said, Dad, if Mom says you can tell me, will you tell me? I said, sure. What'd she do right away? She calls her mom. And her mom's like, your dad can tell you that. She's like, well, he said he'd tell me if you said it's all right. And she's like, no, it's not okay. So all through tonight, she's frustrated with me because I will not tell her what Muff means. But, you know, I appreciate my daughter being the biggest fan. She even asked me tonight, Dad, when can I come on the podcast? And I'm like, man, kid, this is all over, you know, the web. Once it's out there, there's no going back. So
Right.
let's wait a little while before we bring you on.
Yeah, it's you gotta be 18 or older to come on the podcast, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, she's got to sign our lovely waiver.
We have a sign up here. I got like neon signs, as you can see over here, but I got one that says it's a clock and the date. And it says it's like the one you got from the gas station. It says We ID.
Yeah.
It's like a Budweiser one. It says responsibility matters. So you know what, Matt? At Barggianos, responsibility matters.
Yeah. So that's my fun story, you know, kids being curious, but I'm happy she's our biggest fan.
Well, that's good. Well, I think we said it all again tonight, man. I mean, we set out, we conquered, we discussed, we're helping people's lives out.
Yeah, and
You're a doctor. I mean, you're telling me medical advice. You're a Mad MD.
Not a doctor.
That's incredible. You should start wearing like a white jacket down here.
Yeah,
get you that like Cyclops metal thing
with like a shirt and tie. Just
yeah, absolutely. Your hands are always cold.
Are they?
You tell me, Doc.
I don't know. You got some doctors touching you in some strange places if your hands are.
I'm going to get you some rubber gloves next time because you never know what could take place at Barggianos.
Yeah, next time on Barggianos podcast.
That's a teaser for you.
Yeah. So, no, it's been another great episode, Chuck. Always fun being down here.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, on that note, that is Barggianos out. Cheers, buddy.